Hello, it's Talking Reds live from our studio in the city centre of Liverpool. I've got Mo Stewart, I've got Josh Sexton, I am John Gibbons, if I didn't say that. And Talking Reds is brought to you today by NordVPN. Lots more from NordVPN and the benefits of using that service later. But first of all, there's a big game tonight. Josh, Liverpool v Luton. City won last night. We expect them to do it. They teased us a little bit for a while, but they get the 3 points and now it's over to the Reds to do the business this evening.
Do you know what? I did a beautiful thing last night where I forgot City were playing. So I wasn't engaged with it at all until I saw the result. And still, when you see the result, obviously you do get that sort of that tinge of disappointment. But yeah, I just completely forgot it even existed as a prospect. I'm dead excited for the game tonight. I always get excited by mad teams. I'd rather they didn't come out of necessity. Being completely honest about it, but the idea of getting into Anfield and seeing what we think will be a bit of a mad team, and you know, we all sort of believe that whatever team we put out, whatever 11 we put out, should have more than enough to beat Luton on our own turf as well, and the fans sort of making a big difference. And I'm expecting all of those ingredients to go into tonight. I'm very excited.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't forget that they were playing Mo. But it was following it on my phone. It wasn't on telly over here. We decided to watch the new series of Sex Education. It's in a new location, new people going on. I was just looking at my phone, sort of updating it, and then when Haaland scored, I had to say to my wife, "Listen, I don't know what's going on here. Can you explain it?" Because now I want to engage you. But where the fuck are they? Who's he? And what's going on? And what happened with them last series again? Because it's been about 2 years.
So you had that kind of glaze over look on your face, where you're like, oh yeah, this is all interesting. Like basically when I'm having to watch Love Island, like no, I'm really engaged in this. This is really what's happening. See, I kind of took the Josh option and forgot it was on. I actually watched other football. There was other football happening.
Champions League,
very important. Inter Atletico, that was really good fun. But I kind of, having spoken to Dave Mooney for Coach Home, listen to Coach Home by the way, I'd kind of given up on any kind of shenanigans happening in that game. So I was just like, let it be, assume that they're going to win and then move it forward. And yeah, I'm excited for this game. I'm slightly annoyed because I'm not going, because basically I'd booked some work when this was a free weekend, free midweek, and then suddenly the price of success means that we've got to play tonight, so I'm not going to be going. But if I was going to be going, I would be really excited for it, because I think we kind of owe Luton one. Like, if you go back to the game at Kenilworth Road, yes, you can look at the chances we missed and say that on another day we put those away. But I felt like we could let them get away with it. Like, we should have won that game. So now I want them to bring that energy into this game, whoever's on the pitch.
Yeah, and that's it. Whoever's on the pitch, we need to sort of get behind them and we need to back them. And you know, the injury situation is frustrating, not least for the manager, who I'm sure would be looking to, you know, look at a big week and sort of rotate and pick and choose. It does feels like, you know, tonight's team's going to be kind of whoever's fit and able to sort of get on there. I think he said that is like, well, if I've got 11, then I'll be confident. And I think that'd be the case tonight. But what I like about this Liverpool team this season, Josh, is that different players have stepped up at different times, and that's not just the big stars. That's somebody we weren't expecting big seasons from in the summer. You know, Quansah, we weren't necessarily thinking was going to be playing much or indeed at all this season, but he's played really well, might play again tonight. Connor Bradley's obviously the breakout sensation of the winter. So it's... And then there's other, you know, more senior pros as well who I think have stepped up when they've been needed, and I'm hoping for that again tonight. And to be honest, I'm expecting that again tonight because that's what they've done all year.
Absolutely, yeah. I was hoping I could box my 11, but Joseph Tyrrell's already done it in the comment series. He said he thinks Elliott will play right wing. He's expecting a midfield of Gravenberch, Endo and McAllister, and Diaz and Gakpo partnering Elliott up front. And that's the way I think the manager will go. I think if there's sort of any doubt around the fitness of Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez, as the rumours have suggested, then I think you keep them for Sunday, don't you? You keep them for the cup final. You don't risk them for this one. And it's not to say this one's not a big game. It's more the tight turnaround of time between this and the Brentford game, and then the tight turnaround again before the cup final. So I think I would be sort of erring on the side of caution. Hopefully we can see one of them on the bench, because even off the bench they'd be a huge game changer. And you're right to say that, you know, people have made big contributions in unexpected ways this season, and a lot of those have come from the bench. Like you look at someone like Harvey Elliott. We've all been saying all season how much Harvey Elliott deserves to start, and then the problem is when he has started, he's sort of struggled to get into games a little bit, whereas whenever he's come off the bench, he's really sort of brought that energy. So I'd be interested if it was him starting tonight to see whether he can sort of rise to that challenge. But if it isn't, then as I say, hopefully there's a couple of boss. If not young, there's a shout out for Jayden Dans off the bench in there from Ayrza. I'd like to see a couple of young lads
he mentions
on the
him
bench.
in the press conference, doesn't he? It was interesting.
And that's probably the first time. It's probably the first time he's mentioned Jayden Dans specifically. I'll sort of keep a keen eye on those mentions, obviously, because there's a couple of lads who I've watched coming through. I've not seen loads of Jayden Dans, to be honest, but I've seen sort of highlights on social media and stuff. And he looks a top player.
He's obviously impressive in training.
Exactly.
For
son of Neil Dans as well. If anybody remembers those, one for the teenagers. So I'd be excited to see a couple of those kind of lads on the bench tonight, but then hopefully a few of the senior boss ones too.
See, I think that's probably what we're going to see. There's a part of me that feels like it's a bit of a shame though, and obviously Elliot's been brilliant. He's been fantastic. His early start. One thing he isn't though is lightning quick. And if you look at Luton and the way that teams have been attacking them, it's been down that right hand side where they have a bit of a gap because their left wing back Alfie Doughty pushes right up, and then the far left of the centre backs, the three centre backs, is often exposed. And you saw Man United, they scored 2 goals early on, getting that pace in that area. So if we had someone quick to put up against them, I think that would be a real advantage. So obviously, Salah, if he's not fit, then there's no point risking him. So I wonder if, like you mentioned, Jayden Dans, I wonder if Kai Gordon comes into it, whether or not we can see, even if it's just for half an hour to run
scored
at
at the
them.
weekend, didn't he? Kai Gordon.
Yeah, so whether or not there's something tactically that can happen there. I mean, obviously, if Elliot starts, I'd still back him to go on and make it be influential. But I think in terms of what Luton want to see the least, if we can get someone with pace over there, then that might do some real damage.
Yeah, you can talk about the players who are out, Josh, but when you focus on the ones who are there, there's a lot of quality. You're reading out that team that someone sort of texted in, and you think, well, Luton would kill to have one of those players. It's not, beyond, reason or disrespecting the opposition to too much to say that there's 3 or 4 of those who will be Luton's best ever player. Do you know what I mean? And that's sort of the situation. And listen, they've done really well. And obviously it's not just football isn't about who's got the best individuals, it's how you gel as a team. And this team might have a little bit of difficulty with that because they won't have played together, but at the same time there is real quality in there. When you look at someone like a Luis Diaz, for example, who's streets ahead of what Luton could ever sort of attract, and what he's able to do, and the individual brilliance that he has. And it might be a night for some of that individual brilliance. It's been a while since we've seen the Luis Diaz cut in, take a couple of players and smack one in. One tonight would be lovely. Or Harvey Elliott the other side. I'm not greedy.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And when Mo was saying there about someone with sort of pace, I was almost thinking it's as much about aggression as pace. And I think if you're looking at any Liverpool player this season who's sort of shown those levels of aggression combined with pace, that directness to want to get out opposition and beat them, it's been Luis Diaz. We've seen some of the goals he scored this season have come almost from sort of sheer force of will as much as anything else, because he's just running towards the goal and things are rebounding off him and stuff. Like the goal against Arsenal is the one that sort of springs most to mind. So I'm expecting big things from somebody like a Diaz, because he's probably the one in there who has had the most minutes this season, hasn't he? If you're looking at an Elliott, you can maybe forgive that he's not necessarily got the rhythm. Gakpo looks like he's sort of struggled a bit recently. He gets his goal at the weekend, so hopefully that sort of opens him up a little bit more. But then Diaz is the one you're almost looking at as the more senior of those three, the one who should really be sort of kicking on and causing Luton some serious problems. And you're right, and listen, Jurgen Klopp always goes above and beyond to really respect the opposition in these press conferences, and we shouldn't be treating Luton like that, like they're some sort of minnows. They're not. They're in the Premier League on merit. Exactly. They've got a decent couple of players as well. Even though I was sort of disappointed with the final result against United and disappointed that they couldn't quite get it over the line. They've had a couple of those games this season where they've made it really tough for some top teams right until the death. They made it tough for us, obviously at Kenilworth Road. There's some good players in there, and Klopp sort of listed a couple of them in the press conference. But someone like Luis Diaz could walk into about 16 of the teams in the Premier League for me anyway, to my taste. So I'm expecting some big things from someone like him, like McAllister, like Endo, the more experienced among them. And then hopefully carry through some of those sort of less experienced or out of rhythm lads.
If Rob Gutman was here, it's eternal dread, man. Rob has more than once said to me, the thing is about injuries, John, is people always say they can't get any worse, but they can. Yes. And that is a thing, when people say, oh, this is it now, it can get worse. If you could offer me right now a squeaky 1-0 or a less squeaky 2-0, and a clean bill of health, my, you bite your hand off.
1000% all day long, and I think everyone has that same vibe. This is the only game really where I feel like that could potentially get into the players' minds because of the cup final. Because we've been saying all week about the players' reaction to it. Like it's almost like they've been like, "What you all worried about? We know how good everybody is here. So whoever 11's on there, we can still go out and do the business." This is the only time where people might be fearful of missing the next game. So you wonder whether that comes into it. I really hope it doesn't. But yeah. It's funny because looking at injuries, and I've seen people talk about, well, maybe it's our style of play, and people talk about our medical department, things like that. We've played more games than everybody else. We're literally trying to win 4 trophies. No one else is trying to win 4 trophies. I looked into it, like Aston Villa had the 2 pre-games for the Europa Conference League. They got knocked out in the first round of the League Cup. So did Man City. And they had the 2 Club World Cup games. We have played more than anyone else. We play at a really intense way of football. So it's going to feel like it happens to us more than it happens to other teams. But it doesn't happen to us that much more than other teams. Like, again, I was talking to Dave Mooney, and like, the reason why John Stones and Bernardo Silva didn't start against Chelsea is because they had niggles.
Yeah.
De Bruyne last night.
Having to be really careful with him, and he's missed most of the season already.
So, like, it's an everybody thing.
Yeah.
So if you think about it as an everybody, I mean, Luton are going to be missing Elijah Adebayo. And I mean, yes, it's only one guy. He's like one of their very best players and top scorer.
Yeah.
So everybody's having to deal with it, and it's how your mentality is affected by it. And I think for us, because we're kind of so deep in this, and there's lots of players around who've been there 2 years ago when we were going through everything, I think they're probably going to be a bit calmer about it than us, and certainly than Jurgen. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the reaction, because like I say, if there's any kind of doubts in it, we might see it tonight.
Yeah. You want the fans to step up as well tonight, Josh, and I'm sure they will, because listen, let's all hope that there's an early goal for Liverpool that settles everyone, another one before half-time, and we can all have a nice evening in Anfield watching the Reds. But there might be a period where, you know, maybe it is looking a little bit tricky, where maybe Luton are frustrating us. Like I said before, it's a new team playing together, so maybe the passing isn't quite as slick as what we normally expect at Anfield. There is a chance that there's a bit of a tough period for Liverpool, and that the players on the pitch, you know, need some backing, and I'm sure the fans have delivered it, because I think as a supporter base, I think we do recognise the moments where, yeah, they need us a little bit more tonight and we need to step up. And I'm hoping that everyone who is, you know, going tonight has that mindset, and I'm sure they will.
100%, yeah. I think Liverpool fans are reactive sort of in the stadium generally, aren't they? And they're also aware of context, and the context going into this is that the chips are down for Liverpool, really. Like, I've seen a lot of people sort of almost on a doom-mongering trajectory in the last few days, that, oh, it's all these injuries and this is going to be the thing that derails us and stuff. These are the moments where Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool comes to life. It's the moments where, you know, us as fans thrive on, or you look back through all those sort of football miracles we've done over the last few years, or all those moments in history where Liverpool weren't supposed to go on and do that thing or create that amazing moment, and they always seem to find a way to go on and do it. And tonight should be, you know, another one of those, or at least a platform for sort of more of those this season. I think it is important that Liverpool are prepared to, you know, suffer in this game. One of the things that I think frustrated me so much with that team last season is that they were too easily discouraged. Like, every time there was a moment where they had to suffer in games, they just weren't good at it. Jurgen Klopp constantly goes above and beyond in press conferences to respect opposition, and he always acknowledges that, like, you are going to suffer in moments in games. This is the Premier League. It's the biggest and best league in the world for a reason. Is that 1 to 20 in this league. Everybody can cause you problems, and at some point in a game, everybody is going to cause you problems. And I feel like, you know, some sort of pundits, I should say, maybe forgot about that a little bit against Burnley, and we talk about Burnley being the better team and stuff like that. This is just the Premier League. You're going to be prepared to suffer in games. Burnley is almost the perfect blueprint for me for what Liverpool can go and do tonight. Although I'd like it maybe a little bit more comfortable if I could. But that's just me being a little bit spoiled there.
Yeah, no equalisers. Yeah. None of that.
Another thing about the fans, by the way, I did a bit with the Luton fans for one of their podcasts, and I did a really nice, lovely, respectful bit where I said we're going to win 2-1 and they're going to stay up and everybody's happy. And then I listened to what they said beforehand, and I was a bit like, so they were on about how everyone knows that once You Never Walk Alone's finished, Anfield's dead, so we can take advantage of that. So listen, all of you out there, you are going to the game. Take that personally. Don't let that be the case. Go out there and show them what that crowd's really about.
Yeah, absolutely. Until you've come and experienced it, I would say, to any Luton fans watching, you might be surprised. It has been a while for you, so maybe you'll be a little bit surprised tonight. But I'm sure we won't be surprised by what Liverpool are able to do. But listen, loads more previews on the Anfield Wrap app. So you've got the pre-match warm-up, which includes a conversation with a Luton fan on there. You've also got press conference extra, which was straight after the press conference yesterday with a reaction to everything Jurgen Klopp said. And of course, for our video subscribers, you've got the mighty team talk, the greatest show on earth, they are calling it.
We've got Patrick Westmore in the comments here, who's obviously the Anfield Wrap's best marketing tool, saying that Josh is good on the team talk, so I'll take good. Yeah.
I can't help but notice you're the one picking out the comments as well.
Yeah, there's
so you don't know what else has been said.
There's loads of criticism here, I'm just deleting those.
Well, if you want to see if that is correct, then Josh is indeed good on the team talk. Make sure you are downloading the Anfield Wrap app. Subscribe from there. Also, you can subscribe on YouTube if you just want the video stuff as well. That is an option available to you. So yeah, but a really good time to subscribe to the Anfield Wrap. Obviously, the game's coming thick and fast. We've got a final on Sunday, and there'll be loads of previews to that as well, and obviously reaction tomorrow to what I'm sure, well, we hope will be another Liverpool win tonight. But as I said before, this show, Talking Reds, has been brought back in part thanks to the support of the lovely people at NordVPN. And already, some of you have been taking advantage of NordVPN's very generous offer to Anfield Wrap listeners and subscribers, including, and I've lost the page. It was a guy who got in touch. This is poor life. I had it on and I've lost it. Basically, someone, give me 2 seconds.
See, the person who doesn't have a laptop here, just sitting away, just chatting away.
Do you know what I was going to say?
What's Chris? Here we go. I'm ready.
You ready? Go on, go for it.
Okay, so Chris said, cheers for the NordVPN promo, by the way, at Anfield Wrap, at John Gibbons blog. I finally sorted it today, dead handy for me, and Motown Junk too, good Twitter name, while we're travelling Southeast Asia for the next few months, so have a fantastic time. I replied with our class have fun, made up, you can watch Gladiators in Hanoi.
I've had a couple of Gladiators comments, so there's also Supernova, you never walk alone, who says, thank you NordVPN for enabling me to watch the game tonight. We can obviously neither confirm nor deny whether NordVPN can help you watch the game tonight.
But it is on in other places, and something like a VPN service can help you with that. Chris said, by the way, he's going to watch Royal Family and Early Doors in Hanoi. That
really
is up
good
to
Royal
him.
Family chat.
But yeah, we have focused a lot when we've talked about NordVPN on this ability to watch not just football games, but other TV shows in different parts of the world. But it is also worth pointing out as well that it'll be a massive benefit to Chris as he travels the world, with the fact that NordVPN encrypts your internet connection and hides your IP address and location, making you much safer and more private online. And listen, I'm not disparaging the internet security of Cambodia. I don't know either way what it's like. But the point is, Chris, you're stepping into the unknown, you're unsure, you're logging onto Wi-Fi's, having that extra peace of mind that NordVPN offers is surely of a benefit. So for all of you, for special offers and a 30-day money-back guarantee, go to nordvpn.com/TAW. That's nordvpn.com/TAW. And thanks a lot to Nord for bringing back Talking Reds. That was good. That was all right in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like we muddled through in the end. Yeah. I just want to say on the topic of travelling the world as well, of course, the Anfield Wrap are going on tour to North America next month. theanfieldwrap.com/tour live for your dates and tickets there. We're going to be in New York, Boston, Toronto, Detroit, Delaware and Washington, DC between the 20th of March, which is a Wednesday, and Monday, the 25th of March. So yeah, please go and get your tickets if you haven't already. That was a Craig Hannon request in the comments. I read that out, so I just had to get that in there.
No, absolutely. And also, there is a chance, hopefully be announced today, that the Anfield Wrap are doing something on Saturday night in London. So if you're in London, you live in London, or you're down for the final, we're trying to pull something together at the moment that we'll be doing something live in London on Saturday night. So I can't announce too much in terms of, I don't want to jump the gun, but we're looking to box it off as soon as possible.
Where are you going to park, John? Does
that work? As close as possible to the venue. So yeah, okay, part 2, Liverpool's search for a new manager. Bayern Munich have thrown something of a spanner in the works, or have they, with the announcement that they will be looking for a new manager in the summer. And I think whenever there's another sort of, European superpower, which is what both clubs are, who are looking for a similar sort of thing, it does ruffle a few feathers. Obviously, there's the fact that Xabi Alonso played for both clubs, as well the fact that he's working in Germany at the moment. Bayern Munich have a bit of a track record in plucking players and managers from other Bundesliga clubs at their will, and so you'd be shocked if he wasn't on A-list.
Yeah, I mean, he was already on the list regardless. I think, to be honest, before we got to this stage, I think most of us had assumed that Tuchel wasn't really going to be there next year. So it was almost as if this announcement hasn't really changed a whole lot. I mean, who knows? Maybe he enjoys living in Germany. Maybe he doesn't want to have to move too far. But the reality is, I think, if you look at the two teams and you look at the way that they constructed management over the last decade or so, Bayern Munich, they do change a lot. They do have a very, very high threshold. So if you aren't winning the league, or if you're in Tuchel's case, you maybe look like you aren't winning the league, then that's it, you're gone. There's no real chance to develop a team, to grow a squad. And from what we've seen of Xabi when he was at Real Sociedad and now at Leverkusen, he's very much that kind of guy who wants to get in somewhere, grow his influence and build a club. We do that very, very well.
Yeah.
And I think that he will be fully aware of that. So in terms of Bayern Munich being a new player in this market who could potentially destabilise Liverpool, I'm not as concerned personally. I think that we've also got a key head start on this because we haven't known about it, but people have known about it since November, and we don't know how many conversations have happened without our knowing. So I'd like to think that we were somewhere further along in terms of if Xabi has demands over what kind of things he wants financially from himself, for the squad, what other kind of influence he wants to have across the club. A lot of those conversations with Liverpool can have already taken place. With Bayern, maybe at the beginning. And obviously there's the part where he's at a German club now, and for him to move from Leverkusen to Bayern Munich, it would kind of tarnish the legacy that he's built at Leverkusen, to go straight from one to the other. And I know that, obviously, like you say, in Germany, it's just a done thing, the way the Bayern are able to hoover everything up. Doesn't mean everyone likes it, though. And I think that there's an element of, he is so early on in his managerial career that he'll get another chance at Bayern.
You wonder, for Alonso, how much of his mind is made up. Has he even decided he definitely wants to leave? I think he's probably, edging maybe towards that in his mind, with the fact that he can seemingly go sort of wherever he wants now. But there is a chance that he goes, you know what, no, I'm enjoying, learning my trade here at Leverkusen. They're going to be in the Champions League next season, probably as champions, but you never know. But certainly in the Champions League next season, there's obviously a chance that he just goes, no, if I'm hot now, I back myself to, still be sort of hot in the next couple of years, and I'm sort of enjoying it there. That is the chance. I think he sort of will go, but you wonder whether his mind's made up. You wonder even whether Liverpool's mind's made up, because I think for a lot of us, I'll be honest, I put all my eggs in the Xabi basket. But for Liverpool, they might still be sort of exploring it. How many knowns and unknowns are in all this? We don't know, Josh, but we're gonna have fun finding out.
It's the beauty of it, isn't it? I think I'm all in on the Xabi train as well, and it seems like he actually may already be Liverpool manager, because Red Xabi, which is obviously his YouTube username, has commented saying, if you go into today's game, pack your boots, you could get a game. So I think he's already picking the team for Liverpool, it seems. But Mo mentioned before about Liverpool being a perfect club to be able to build with. Ian McPhee, has put a comment in there saying Bayern have had 7 managers since Jurgen joined the Reds, so it's not even the fact that Liverpool give the opportunity to build, it's the fact that Bayern don't as well. And the only sort of thing I could see for me is the scenario you've presented there, where maybe he looks to stay at Leverkusen, maybe he looks to sort of continue building, have that season in the Champions League with what he's already built so far. But listen, managers are guilty of a lot of smoke and mirrors. We've seen Jurgen Klopp do it, although I'd say Jurgen Klopp is probably one of the more straight shooters of managers across Europe. Xabi's not made any noises to that effect that he's definitely looking to stay at Leverkusen. It's all been, we'll get to the end of the season and we'll see, and all that kind of talk. So I think he probably does have eyes elsewhere at the moment. Maybe he gets to the end of the season and he will genuinely assess it at that point. But for me, it feels like the writing's on the wall for a move to Liverpool, and I'm personally all in on that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of work to do at Bayern as well. I mean, yes, obviously they've been champions how many times, but sometimes that's bad. Sometimes you can be champion so long that you almost kind of take it for granted.
Oh, you think we could even play Eric Dyer and still win?
Exactly. But there's lots of players in that team who are either unsettled, like Goretzka, Kimmich, all those guys are looking beyond, and you've got someone like Kane who's just come in and he's scoring lots of goals, and now it's getting to that point where it's like, is it really fitting? And there's lots of things to solve in that squad, and then you look at ours and you've got like, well, okay, there's some guys who you need to kind of tie down with new deals, but other than that, squad's kind of like pretty full, pretty close to how you'd want it to be, so he can just go in there and start moulding. But you never know. You honestly never know. I could potentially be surprised. I think the one thing I did see today, which did make me laugh, is that some people say, well, you never know, maybe Thomas Tuchel comes into the frame for Liverpool. And I'm like, no.
Please, no.
No. Let me find another camera to say it to.
Yeah.
No.
I think, listen, Jurgen is claiming he's staying out of it, and that is probably true, but I think if there's any Tuchel rumours, he'd be like,
come on, lads, we can do better than this.
Come on. All men's here. Absolutely. And there are other names, and we're exploring them at the moment, and there will be another managerial gutter tomorrow that Rob Gutman is hosting, where we're sort of looking at other ones. And for I think, for us, we can be a bit of Zabi or nothing, but they're not doing this sort of due diligence if they're not sort of looking at what else is out there. Not just from the fact that if Zabi doesn't come, but also there might be a candidate who isn't necessarily as eye-catching as Zabi Alonso, but when they look at it, they might feel is more suited to our playing style. Who knows?
100%, yeah, and I think you've seen that with some of the people who may be looking at it as more like Liverpool need more of an analytical approach going forward. And I wonder whether those people are maybe slightly underestimating Alonso in that sense. But is Sam Casey there as commentating? Josh Williams have been doing great De Zerbi propaganda, and I think that there are merits for people like De Zerbi, for people like Ange, I guess, would be another one who's come into the frame. Ruben Amorim is a name who's been mentioned as well. I personally think that it just needs that warmth in the job next. I'm not sort of looking for the cold tactician, because I think you can be in danger then of stripping away all the sort of great leadership qualities that Jurgen Klopp brought to the managerial role. And I think whether the players respond to that or not is one question, but it's how us as fans respond to that as well. And I think I just want to love the next Liverpool manager, and I think I'd find it hard to love I did love Rafa Benitez, but I'd find it hard to love our Rafa Benitez, who is famously that sort of cold tactician, wouldn't even give wouldn't put an arm around Gerrard in training and tell him to stay when all the Chelsea rumours were going around and all those kinds of things. So yeah, I think I'm still all in on the shabby stuff, but let Josh Williams and Neil Atkinson go through all the options. Rob Gutman's going to go through a lot of the options as well, I'm sure, and tune in for all of that.
Yeah,
I think the other thing we've got to factor in as well is the fact that we haven't got a sporting director yet.
Yeah.
And that kind of probably needs to happen first. And obviously some of the guys who we've been linked with, Tim Steiden, who was with Xabi at Bayer Leverkusen, or the guy who's literally at Leverkusen now, I think we are probably spreading the net a little bit wider than that. But obviously that will be a big tell as to who comes in once we get that in place.
And they might have their own ideas.
Yeah.
You never know on that. Loads to do at Liverpool, which is daunting, but also a little bit exciting as well, because who knows what's going to come next. But before all that, we have got Luton tonight. As I say, do make sure you download the Anfield Wrap to check out all the previews across our audio and video, but also post-match shows from Anfield, from the pubs of Anfield, from the Glenbook. I'm hosting the post-match audio show. The post-match video will be hosted by Neil Atkinson from Sam Dodds next to the Sandon, and yeah, hopefully after another big Liverpool win. And tomorrow there'll be all the extra reaction, midweek extra, 5 things, and also the managerial gutter all happening tomorrow as well. And then we start the build-up to Liverpool's final, Liverpool's first final of the season, the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea. And so yeah, great time to subscribe to the Anfield Wrap, download the app, get stuck in. But thanks a lot to Josh, thanks to Mo, for you guys, for your points as well on the YouTube and up the Reds.
Bring your digital life to a whole new level with NordVPN. Choose the fastest VPN on the planet and explore the internet without interruption.